Hi everyone, Stepan here. In these chess meditations I'm going to talk about visualization in chess and how to improve your ability to see better, to remember better, and to be able to visualize positions better. Now if you are like me, then you are surely impressed when Grandmasters, when asked, for example, in a press conference to analyze some variation, remember everything. They can just say the moves right off the top of their head. They remember lines, 20 moves in depth, and they can play through the whole game without thinking about it. And that's a skill they developed from practicing visualization. Another great skill is that you get to play blindfolded chess, and I've always been amazed by that, and looking at players such as Magnus Carlsen play simultaneous blindfolded exhibitions. And both these skills, which Grandmasters have developed in time, can improve and in time can be developed in your own game. And I've devised a training routine for improving visualization, and I'm going to share the exercises I do daily to improve, and I hope you like them. Please do let me know if you do something else to improve your visualization, and let me know if you are able to play blindfolded. For now, I'm able to play one game, and I've tried playing two, but I get lost at around move 10. I can play one game, and I usually mess up somewhere in the middle game, but if it's an opening I know, then I'm comfortable, and I can even survive until the late middle game sometimes. So it's tough, but I'm improving. So the first exercise I wanted to suggest is playing over your own games. Now, if you've noticed, most strong players, when asked after a game how it went, they are going to say, oh, he played queen b3, I went here, and they remember everything. And when I started playing chess, I couldn't understand what's wrong with me. Am I stupid or something? Why don't I know that? And it came naturally to me that now I remember my own games after I've played maybe 80 or 90 tournament games. And I started to remember them all, and especially since I started practicing that. So the first exercise I would suggest is that as soon as you finish a game, and it doesn't have to be a rated tournament game, it can be a game online, it can be a game you played with your friend, try to play over the moves in your head and try to remember everything that went on. Now, it might seem hard at start, but let's say you played a Sicilian. If your opponent played e4, you do remember that you played c5, so you can go at least up to some point, and everybody remembers something. You remember the opening that was played. If somebody asked you, did you play the Pirc or the Sicilian, you're going to say, I played the Sicilian, because you remember. So you can go 5, 10 or 15 moves in depth at start. In a while, you're going to be able to remember the whole game. Now, why is that important? This will enable you to remember the thematic positions in your opening, and you are going to be able to predict positions easier, and you're going to be able to spot patterns easier, and you are going to have a larger knowledge base in your head. And the most important thing is that you are going to improve your chess memory. Now, it might not be as different to regular memory, which normal people have, but it has been proven that chess players who are good are not more intelligent than bad players. They are simply more knowledgeable. They remember more and they know more. So remembering your own games is a great way to improve your visualization and your memory. Now, if it's too hard at start, take a board and try to remember the position while moving the pieces. Of course, that will be easier. And after 10 or 15 games, try to do it in your head. So this would be the first exercise, and I think this is crucial. I've seen people who play a game and just go home. They don't remember it or anything. I ask them, how did your game go yesterday? They say, I don't know, it went okay, I drew or I won or I lost or whatever. And I say, what happened? They said, I don't know, it was okay. And they basically don't remember the position. You should remember all of your games, especially on the day you played it. So as soon as you finish a game, take your time and go over the game in your head. You're going to get some good ideas, and your knowledge in the opening and in chess in general is going to improve. The second exercise I wanted to suggest, which is a bit faster than the first one, and this one can be repeated daily, is to set up random positions on the board. This is a position from Carlsen and Anand, I think, from the World Championship. And it can be anything. Just take a position, go to some move 20. I usually always go to move 20 when I train. Look at this position and try to set it up on your board. Look at the position. I usually take about 1 minute and I try to decrease the time spent looking at the board. And once I remember the position, I set it up on the board. And I will usually take maybe 10 or 15 boards, set them all up, and then check my score, see how it went, see where I went wrong. You can do this by using glitches. Just open a new training board and set up the position. So here, how to start doing this? If you have trouble doing that with middle game positions, then you can take any position, go to move 35. This is my end game stage, sort of here, because on move 35 the positions are usually less complicated. Go to move 35 and try to do the same thing. You are going to have less pieces on the board. The position is going to be easier to remember. And once you are able to do that, go to the middle game, move 20, and repeat until you get better. Now, the best way to do this is to not to memorize each piece. Like, let's say this pawn is on a4, this pawn is on b2, this pawn is on c3, because that will take much longer. You need to remember in patterns, in thematic patterns which occur during real chess games. And another study that has proven something interesting is that if you test a grandmaster and a normal human being and set up a real chess position, if they look at it for a minute, a grandmaster is going to remember the position almost all the time, and the normal person isn't going to remember, he's going to remember 5 or 10 pieces. However, if you set up a random position, which doesn't look as if it came from a chess game, then both people are going to have the same result, a similar result. So grandmasters don't have a better memory. They simply remember chess patterns. So the easiest way to do this exercise is to start by remembering patterns. Now, in this position, I would go, okay, my king is castled kingside. This is one pattern. That means that I don't have to remember that the king is on g1. Let's say the h3 pawn. So my king is castled kingside, and I've made Luft. Okay, so that I know that my king is castled, and I have pawns on f2, g2, and h3. This is what you have to remember. My king is castled kingside, and I have Luft. About this knight, I would remember that I have a Roy Lopez knight. If you remember Roy Lopez positions, the knight usually goes from b1 to d2 to f1 to g3. So this would be the Roy Lopez knight. This, in my case, would be the Roy Lopez bishop, because the bishop goes from either from here, or if it's in Italian, it goes here. So I would remember this bishop like that. I would remember that this rook is undeveloped, so it's still on a1. This is a Roy Lopez rook. And I usually give pieces nicknames from openings, because that's the easiest way to remember. And the rest of the pawn structure you simply have to remember. But if you start this way, then we'll have already remembered half of the pieces. You know about this knight, this king, these two rooks, this bishop, and this queen. And you do all that by studying patterns. And in a while, it's going to be fairly simple to remember what a castle king looks like, and that it's on g1. The rest of the position you're going to have to remember through opening theory and through practice. Basically, if you play an opening that you took a position from, then it's going to be easier. I would suggest that you take openings that you don't play, just to remember, just to be able to improve faster. So try to do that. Look at the position, memorize the patterns, memorize the rest of the board. If you can't find the pattern, take a board. It's best to take a real board next to you and set it up. I usually, as I said, take 10 or 15 boards and then check my results later. And usually I will get 4 or 5 boards completely correct. I will get 2 or 3 boards badly off, and the rest of them will be like I'm missing 4 pieces or something. So, and my results have improved. I've been doing this for a long time, and if you take longer to look at the position, your results are going to be better. But I usually take a minute, and I plan to decrease that to 30 seconds. So this would be an exercise which I think will improve your visualization significantly. The third one is chess puzzles. Now, to start off this exercise, you don't have to do anything over the board. You can just take simple exercises and take something as simple as king versus pawn, and you can memorize this. Everybody can memorize this. And so for now, in your head, you know that your king is on e2, your pawn is on e3, the black king is on d6. You are white to play. Can you win? Can you draw? You need to reach a conclusion in your head. Now, for some people, it might be hard using a board as well. So if you are unfamiliar with endings, then study them first, or take problems from the middle game or from the opening. But Just the way to start this exercise is to start with something simple. So now in my head I would go, let's say e4. This might be a good move. King to e5. Let's say king to d3. King to f6. King to d4. King to e6. e5. King to f7. King to d5. King to e7. e6. e8, and now I've concluded that the position is a draw, and this is just a draw. There's nothing you can do about it. If king d6, then king d8, king e5, king here. So this position is a draw. But it's much harder to see that in your head, and being able to do this in your head is going to improve your chess play significantly, your memory, and it's going to improve your thinking process during a game, because knowing this by heart and knowing these endings in your head is going to make you a monster over the board in an endgame, and there's no way you're going to mess up king versus pawn ever. And you're going to know, as soon as you look at the position, you're going to know, oh yeah, this is a draw. So once you are done with simple exercises, let's say this is another example. This is a tactical exercise. I hope you can solve it looking at the board, but blindfolded it is going to be harder. This is a checkmate in 2 moves, and this is an example of a fairly simple tactic for low-rated players. So look at the board, memorize the pieces, once again use the patterns. Your king is castled, but you're missing the g-pawn. So okay, you have a Roy Lopez rook, you have a weird bishop on e3, this is uncommon, so I would remember that way. Black has a bad bishop on c7, the king is on f8, rook is on e8, and now once you memorize the position, just go over the moves. It's as if you were looking at the board. Just try to think, okay, what do you do here? You know it's white to play, you know white will win, so, and this one is fairly obvious, so I guess here, and this is checkmate. But once you do this in your head, it's going to be much harder, because thinking over positions in your head is hard, because you can miss a crucial factor, and trust me, doing tactics in your head is a pain, but in time you're going to be able to gradually improve and solve harder and harder tactics. So this would be example of a simple tactic, and you could do that now. I guess this one as well. Just take your time, take an hour if you need it, just solve the position in your head. Then you can go on to positions such as this one. This one is a bit harder, and once again, white to move, you can memorize this surely. Everybody can memorize this position. Pawn on g3, pawn on d3, pawn on d6, king on e2, king on e5, and try to solve the position in your head. This is about, I think, 10 or 15 moves until you manage to win, but yeah, you can surely do it. If I was looking at the board, I would go e3, etc., etc. Let's say king to d5, and you go on and win the position. This is winning. So try to do that. Once you are done with this one, then set up a position harder than that. Just take any chess tactics book. Take any. You can go online and type in chess tactics, chess problems, and solve the easiest one first. Just try to gradually increase the tactics you solve, and solve harder and harder tactics every day. And if you do one per day, in a month you are going to be able to solve them in 5 minutes instead of in 1 hour. So this is, I think, the most crucial point, and this will improve your visualization fastest. The next one I wanted to talk about is actually playing blindfolded chess. Now, I don't mean to say play a blindfolded game against a grandmaster and he's going to crush you and you won't remember anything. Start slowly. Go e4, e5. Play with yourself in your head. You don't even need to have an opponent. It's much more fun when you play with somebody, but still you can do it on your own as well. My advice would be to start with an opening that you play. So, for example, I played the Caro-Kann. Okay, my opponent played e4, c6, d4, d5. Okay, let's say my opponent played e5, the advanced variation. I'm going to play bishop f5. He's going to play knight f3. I'm going to play e6. He's going to play bishop to e2. I'm going to play knight to d7. He's going to castle. Okay, in this game he played d4. I took d takes c4, bishop takes c4, knight to b6, and just gradually improve. In time, you're going to be able to play over most of the opening with yourself, and then the next step I would advise you to do is play an opening that you don't know and try to confuse yourself, because the easiest way to learn blindfolded chess is to play something you're unfamiliar with. If you constantly go over things that you know, then you are not going to improve as fast. So my advice would be, Play with yourself. When you feel comfortable enough, find a chess buddy who is similar to your rating and ask him if he'd like to play blindfolded with you. Just sit, have a cup of coffee and talk chess. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop B5 or whatever. And in time you're going to be able to reach the middle game. In time it's going to become interesting and you're actually going to be playing chess. Now, there are going to be times when neither of you are going to notice that both queens are hanging or something, or that it's checkmate in one move, or that you made an illegal move, and that's going to happen. But in time you're going to improve. My advice would be that you write down the moves as you play blindfolded, and that way you can check your games later on. Just play E4, write it down. See, as if you were playing a real game. Just, even though if you're playing with yourself in your head, write down the moves. After you're done, after you can't remember anymore, set the position on the board and see what you did wrong and where you can improve. Once again, play one game per day. You don't need an opponent. Play with yourself. In the shower, in the morning, E4, E5, and just play blindfolded chess with yourself. In years, you are going to be able to play blindfolded chess on 3 boards. So, okay, and the last exercise I would recommend is playing simple memory games. Now, I enjoy this. I enjoy playing those games with my friends, and we usually do this when we are driving or traveling or whatever. This isn't a chess exercise, but it actually comes in very useful to improve your memory. And we usually take something, it could be animals or numbers or whatever, countries, and just pile them on. And for example, I say one number, I say 3. My friend has to repeat my number and say his own number, so 3, 6. Then the next guy needs to say 3, 6, 9, then 3, 6, 9, 1, and whatever. You just create a sequence of numbers, and trust me, it's going to be hard. Our record is about 40 or 40-something moves, I can't remember. And in time you're going to improve. And it doesn't have to be chess pieces, it doesn't have to be chess position. Just practice your brain to memorize more, and in time you're going to improve. To start off with, I would recommend using something that's familiar to you. I don't know, if you are a marine biologist, just count fish or something. Do something that's familiar to you, and in time you're going to be able to improve. And it's also very fun. Once again, find somebody to play with and just try to create a sequence. And you can also play it as a game. Whoever forgets the numbers first loses, and whatever. So these 5 exercises, I think, will improve your memory and your chess visualization. And if you manage to remember every single one of your games, if you manage to play over games in your head, and if you manage to play blindfolded chess, then you're surely going to improve your chess in general. And these exercises are going to help you achieve that. I hope this helps. Please, once again, let me know what you think about this. These are just the exercises I use. I'm sure people use different ones. Perhaps somebody is going to think they're stupid, but they help me. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I always like to try out new things in my chess training. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more chess. See you later. Bye bye.